Presentations, I believe we have a presentation from Councilmember Johnson. And Councilmember Johnson, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Council President Harrell. It is a very happy day here, but also a very sad day here for us at the city. We're bidding farewell to a very critical and important member of our community, and that's Pastor Ron Moe Lobeda. Pastor Lobeda, for those who may not know, has been very critical for all the work that we've done in the University District, particularly around homelessness issues. So before I get into the technical reading of the proclamation, where we're going to be honoring him today for all of his service, I want to just give folks in the audience and folks at home just a little more background about Pastor Moe Lobeda. Ordained in 1984, the pastor used to live in D.C. before moving to Seattle in 1996. He's been part of the University Lutheran Church since then, and has been really integral over the last 20 years in helping to make the U District a better place. He's a regular cook at the Roots Shelter on Saturday mornings and has been part of the Roots community since moving to Seattle. He's also been a strong supporter of Teen Feed, a 7-night weekly program for homeless youth with 3 nights hosted at the University Lutheran Church. While the administration of the church takes care of the logistics, Pastor Moe Lobeda has provided the space for the program. He has a wonderful quote that I think is very strong about his commitment to this work that was featured recently in the University of Washington Daily, which I'm just going to read. Homelessness is not going to go away. In order to address it, it takes an entire village, and I expect the faith community to carry the ball in that regard. As we see things happening here, we can engage our neighbors and businesses because everybody has a role and responsibility to address this challenge. I think that very well sums up the approach that all of us here on the dais try to take as we think about the incredible challenges facing our city around homelessness. And we're really incredibly grateful to you, Pastor Moe Lobeda, for all of your great work. So with Council President's permission, I'd like to read the proclamation into the record and then suspend the rules to allow Pastor Moe Lobeda to give some brief remarks.
Very good. If there are no objections, the rules will be suspended. Hearing no objections, the rules are suspended. Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Please proceed.
So, whereas all people should have access to safe, healthy, and welcoming places to rest or live, and whereas the lack of affordable housing in Seattle is in a state of crisis, and whereas the 2016 one-night count found over 10,000 people in our Seattle-King County community sleeping outdoors or in temporary shelters in January of this year, and whereas homeless, often abused or abandoned women are among the most vulnerable of our homeless neighbors, and whereas it takes a special commitment to understanding of and respect for the needs of homeless women, and whereas the Reverend Ron Moe Lobeda has embraced a commitment to meeting the needs of the nearby homeless community since he arrived in Seattle in 1996 to take the post as pastor of University Lutheran Church, and whereas Pastor Ron quickly became involved in the University District Ecumenical Parish and the Faith Action Network, and whereas he emphasized hospitality and inclusiveness within a few years, he won a commitment to put the use of the church's building to the service of homeless women. And whereas they soon established the Elizabeth Gregory Home in the church itself, providing transitional housing, a day center, and case management services for homeless women, in short, a welcoming and respectful refuge. And whereas he worked tirelessly to secure and grow the funding necessary to sustain Elizabeth Gregory Home and the University Lutheran's related social justice work throughout the community. And whereas Pastor Ron also supported community organizations such as Roots Shelter, which he cooked for, and Teen Feed, which he supplied space for teen shelter evening programs for. And whereas he has helped to raise public awareness and the involvement of the broader community to the needs of our homeless neighbors. And whereas his actions are consistent with and an outstanding example of the City of Seattle's commitment to meeting the needs of our homeless neighbors so that all people can live with dignity in safe, healthy, and affordable homes. Now, therefore, the Seattle City Council proclaims their recognition of Ron Moe Lobeda's special contribution of service to the people of this city and specifically commends his efforts on behalf of homeless women.
Thank you.
Very good. Excellent.
Can I just...
any other comments from my colleagues? Councilmember Beckshaw.
Just a couple. Ron, thank you so much. And not only for the Elizabeth Gregory House, but just recently you called a number of your pastors and colleagues together so that we could talk about how we can better use the space that people have in their mosques, their churches, and in their synagogues for people who are homeless. And I very much appreciate all of you who came, and I will pick up that and run forward. And I hope you will come back and work with us from Berkeley. Even though you may be gone, you are still going to be part of us. So thank you so very much, Ron.
So without further ado, appropriate time to apply.
Thank you, City Council members, for this honor. I'm not the only one being honored here today. I represent the entire faith community in Seattle. And by honoring me, you are honoring the entire faith community that is so involved in this city in attempting to reduce the amount of homelessness in this city. I wish I had a magic bullet to offer to you and to the city in a way of reducing homelessness throughout the city and the whole region. I don't. What I would offer today is just a couple of value-based suggestions that I think you probably agree with and also exemplify. First, from my tradition, all of us, including all homeless people, are children of God. And I would hope that that is the first lens through which we see everyone on the streets, and then respond accordingly. And secondly, again, from my tradition, Jesus was a very strong advocate for the year of the Jubilee. It was a year that stems deep into the Jewish roots and history. And one of the tenets of the year of the Jubilee was that in the 50th year, the land would be redistributed so that those who had lost their land, lost their homes, in the course of those 50 years, it would be returned to them. It's an ideal, but it's also a value and a tenet of our lifelong traditions. We have a great community here that does a lot of philanthropy, but as we all know, philanthropy is on a volunteer basis. You are in the position of helping this entire city redistribute the wealth of this city through your legislation. And I would simply ask in departing that you would continue to do that, to use your positions of power to help redistribute the wealth in this city. Thank you.